Well, to not quote Sig, this starts here. So, welcome to my personal channel. I'm gonna go through basically my not so everyday rotation, but literally everything that I own up to now. One thing that I do plan on getting in the future, saving that for the last entry. But you'll see me slide around. I'm in my office chair. So I'll go through my handguns over here to my left, all my long guns to my right, and then we'll talk about the end at the end, and basically you will just see what I carry. So you call me casual in the comments when you make any comments or anything like that, but personally, at least my nickname, AJ, you can call me that too. So let me go ahead and just start. So first thing I carry, OC spray. Whether you're a fan of Saber or Palm OC, I would just recommend just carrying a spray of some type. And I'm sorry, this one is the gel, so you can see it here. So I'm not gonna get into all the weeds on, what you should carry, how you should carry it. Just know that you should have one if you're in a state that permits it. And you should probably move out of a state that doesn't permit it. Anywho, so again, pepper spray, probably the most influential tool that you're gonna have versus a gun, at least in non-life-threatening situations, or at least trying to de-escalate any situations before they become deadly. So first things first on that. And also, if you want to get into gel, spray, and any other type, that's for you. I have the gel, but I would say I prefer the spray, but personal applications apply there. Just make sure you shake it before you use it. Cool? So I'm going to move on to the handguns, but before I actually get into the guns, I'm just going to say that pretty much, all my handguns are holstered, and they are guns, so I'm not going to be ghosting the trigger. I will be removing them from their holsters, but placing them back in, just going over certain features, and that's that. Not going to be playing around with it, so to speak, because if I did have an ND, you won't see this video. So same thing with the long guns. I'll go into the features, but again, if anybody has anything deeper dive that I can't answer in a question, of course I can make a short about it if you're interested in seeing one of the triggers, or if anything, I'll just describe it as much as I can to alleviate any questions as much as I could too. So let me go back to my first handgun. So I'm going to start with my most often everyday carry, and this is my Glock 43, and probably, if you want to see the holster, in the holster, there you go, from Black Hawk. But it is a 43 frame, so I will call this my 43, but it has a micro dagger comp, or at least the slightest cut for a comp. And I'm almost forgetting the name of my magazine. That's another thing that I'm about to get into, that I'm gonna say that if I'm throwing brain farts on certain names, I'm probably gonna skip past it, but I believe this is X Tech. Just X, letter X, Tech, with the H. So probably certain things I'll say about this so you can see it a little bit more clear. Apologies there. So I do have a Swamp Fox red dot. I am not going to get into any particular recommendations or even suggestions, because of the mindset that everyone needs to pick for their own needs. I, generally speaking, don't need anything that is too expensive for the most part. Like, I don't have anything Gucci grade as far as I'm concerned. So when it comes to durability and basically overall even droppability, especially when I start talking about more of my red dots, I haven't dropped anything yet. So until I do, until I have something cracks, this is how it is. Again, do what's best for your needs. as I will for my own. So again, Swamp Fox Sentinel. I'm a big fan of the Shield RMS cut. Even for all my pistols, you'll see that. I just like having the same type of dots all around, and I don't do any competition, so you won't see any SROs here or 507 comps or anything like that. So here's a little bit of what's here, and I'll go ahead and flip it around in case you want to see that side. Shouldn't be anything special there. But a lot of people confuse this for a G48. I see where they're coming from, but I still have the 3.41 inch barrel in this one. Not the 4 inch from the other, but this is what it is. And of course, standard Glock trigger. Still breaks at 5.5, even though I've had it since 2020. So consistency is a virtue for me. And again, this is my everyday carry Glock. So this is what I choose to defend myself with, should I need defending. So we're gonna go to my second everyday carry, because I kind of am going in order of a little bit of things that I mostly carry, but I'm gonna skip one for closer to the end. But these are ones that I typically carry during the summer. So you'll find another Black Hawk holster here. I have some Safariland ones for those that are into that. This one has a Romeo 0 dot on it. Hasn't failed me yet. It does have rust issues, I will say that. If you're looking for that, and again, no endorsements or recommendations from me, but make sure you coat the screws. So that being said, here is the PSA micro dagger frame with the 43 slide. And I did add a magwell here that was a 3D print. Forgot the name for it. Sorry about that, but if you got questions, I could always answer that later or look it up later, or I have a video on it. And of course the standard, well, not standard, this is a Slick magazine. That's also from PSA. And so far the dagger trigger has been working good for me, and I have no real complaints about it. I'm sure there's better ones out there. I believe Shark Tactical, maybe? Something along those lines. But again, this is how I run it right now until I find some reason to dislike it. I like it as it is. And one thing I particularly like about this frame is the undercut that it has here. And I find this to be kind of my favorite when it comes to ergonomics. So the way that my hand sits up, and when I brace myself and get in a good grip for it, between the magwell, kind of the lip of the magwell, and the undercut, it drives my hand up the furthest compared to every other handgun that I have. And I find that to be very well executed. So there's a lot of elements that came together for that, but this is, if I have to say, if I have a favorite carry gun, this is my favorite carry gun, but it tends to be my nighttime summer carry, or at least in warm weather. So there's that. All right, moving on to what is probably, I'm not going to call it my favorite handgun of all time. It's up there, but it's probably the handgun I think about the most. The one that I would definitely buy another copy of is that copy. And probably, I shouldn't call it my favorite, but it is dear to me. And this is my SIG P226. So it is sitting on a Romeo Red Dot as well. So let me go ahead and present it here. It does have the short reset trigger already installed. Didn't go too bad for me. Didn't get the videotape because my hands had to get in there for the hammer. But of course, there's plenty of not just reviews, but install videos on the short reset trigger. But besides that, This is everything that I've done to it, or not done. For the most part, is fairly original, but this is a newer model. It was, let's see, produced in 2019, to my current recollection. So that's her. Probably my favorite of my double action, single actions as far as ergonomics, and the grip angle is just amazing. I just, one of those few purchases that, like, I fell in love with it when I saw it. And that was online. I had a membership at my local range, and they offered us a deal for it for $600. And that was in 2020. And I just saw a picture of it, and I was just floored. And I was just like, I gotta have it. And my most reliable handgun, bar none. Eats everything. There's another one that comes up that is also equally as flawless at this point, but it hasn't been vetted as long as my 226 since 2020. And it's the next gun I'm going to go into. So I believe this is my newest handgun purchase. And as such, I am babying it. Notice the felt interior, because, or whatever the proper word is for that. But my Beretta 92 is kind of a coveted piece, as far as I'm concerned. And I am trying to keep it all original, trying to keep it shiny, not trying to beat this thing up. It's just, I think as far as aesthetics goes, especially with the SB, that rounded trigger guard is, and that finish on the slide, this might be my favorite handgun of the bunch. Even just to look at, but also holding it is pretty good. It's just not as ergonomic as the SIG for me. Feels a little more slick, a little more awkward trying to get my finger on a good resting position here on the frame, due to, well, the slide being the majority of the majority of real estate as far as like the frame goes, like versus the frame. But that being said, I can't argue with the looks. I can't fault it for not being cut for a red dot. I think the sights are perfect. And, you know, it's just a quality piece. I have to say thank you to Classic Firearms again, because I do not believe that, I did not get this with the best of 10 pick, if I recall correctly. And the fact that I just left it up to the whims of the person that was going to pick it to just pick the best one is just, I cannot complain with this. Like, this is one gun that I just truly love and will cherish, and probably my first barbecue gun. And I'm proud of that. So, just in case if I have any lighting issues, forgive me there, but hopefully that helps a little bit. So, I'm gonna get into my next gun here. That is, I think this is the first one that I have the Safariland holster on here. And I know, paddle, I know. Leave me alone. But also has a Swap Fox optic. But this is probably the pistol I'll probably put the most rounds into, and the one I shoot the best with. I'm not gonna call it the best shooter. In my hands, it is for me, but that's also because what I got going on here between the red dot, which I believe is a green dot on this one, and my comp and the Timney trigger for this, I guess you could call it tricked out M&P 2.0. Between the threaded barrel and me putting on the 15 round frame versus the frame that was 17 rounds originally. So at least the frame, talking there, this was a used purchase in the original 2.0 configuration, and it's not that way anymore. So again, this is my preferred training gun. This is the gun that I like to shoot the most. This is the gun that, for me, shoots the softest. And the one thing I'm in love with, it has good ergonomics, but the grip itself is just like being able to choose between the different sizes. And mine has the extra large. No good reason, I like the most abrasive option. So you can get a good look there for that palm swell. But like I said, that's just me. I don't know anybody else that runs the XL. Most run the medium, I think, and the large. But again, this is my favorite handgun to shoot. Go ahead and put that back. So to continue that, this is actually my favorite handgun overall to carry. So, and I think it's the only one that I actually keep the spare magazine along with the holster. So let's go ahead and just check this one out. So let me go ahead and put this to the side. All right, so what we have here is the threaded barrel came with the full size frame. So this is a whole 17 rounds. And I think this is the only one that have a Romeo red dot with the hood on it. And also the only one that the screws haven't rusted out on it too. But like I mentioned before, the Timney trigger, and this for me is the most balanced gun that I have. 4-inch barrel, not the 4.25, just the 4-inch. And it just sits perfectly in my hand as far as balance is concerned. So this is why I like to carry it as much as I can when I can, especially in the winter if I'm doing anything outdoorsy. This is like the one that, if I had to say, like, if I had to knuckle down and be in the woods or some kind of perilous situation, if we have another Summer of Love 2025 edition, I'll be rocking this and keeping my spare mag on me, and probably throwing on the third spare mag I have on it for me too. So last but not least is my winter carry that I carried the most often throughout the years. Again, another 2020 purchase for me, but my TZ P10S here. Probably, at least for all the seasons accounted for, I'm trying to figure out if I carry this more than a Glock. There was a time when, like, I didn't work at, or a time where I've constantly or consistently worked at home, and this was kind of like the one I kept on me for the most part, just because I was still like wearing jeans. So like it was comfortable to wear around the house and everything like that. In certain jobs that I did carry this one more often too. I'll probably say when it came to work purposes and working in like a controlled environment, I might have carried this more, but the Glock for me is literally every day at this point. And this has been more like, depending on the circumstances, it was like a weekday gun, but it's certainly not a weekend gun for me. For the most part, maybe except for winter. So I have a lot of days with this, is basically what I'm saying, but it's up there with the G43. But this was probably the only gun I purchased that was practically sight unseen. Kind of like the 226, but not really. I kind of looked at it from a more, I guess, technical way, thinking more of my head than my heart, like all the texture in, and even the way that the slide was made, how it fits on the frame, like it's pretty tight. And you can see some gap there, but not as bad as the M&P, I'll tell you that. So there was just a lot of things about the way that this was made that basically caught my attention, and the grip not being as abrasive to me as the C and the F, which for me it was like a no-go. Most Glock type grips like that are a no-go for me. I know, ironic considering the aggressive XL sandpaper that I run for my M&Ps, but that's just how it is. So that being said, the trigger, the M Carbo trigger, brought the trigger pull down to 4.5 consistently, and I got a different video on that concerning the reset. But if I have to pick a subcompact or a somewhat compact gun to carry, this is it. This is like my, I don't want to call it covert favorite carry, but it kind of feels that way. It feels like a very tactical gun. If the C and the F had the same kind of grip texture, less aggressive, I would definitely have those as well. But that covers all the handguns. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and maybe I might refer you to one of my previous videos, but I tend to talk a lot, so I'll go ahead and just answer your question directly. But let me go ahead and get to the long guns here, and I guess I'll just start from right over here, and I have to slide back because we got a few things here, and I'm trying to keep the video under an hour. Let's try that. So, first thing here is the M4 clone. So, nobody's favorite Turcinelli. Maybe it's somebody's, but the Panzer M4 Speed Pro, I want to say. Again, this is not marketing for me. This is just the most interesting version of the M4 that I found. Like, oh, they got a lot of upgrades on this, or at least a lot of talking points. So I was like, okay, we'll give it a try. We'll see. I mean, who doesn't have a 1301 or an A300 by now? But I mean, those could have been gotten, but at least for me, with this, like I said, I found this more interesting. Like, can you take the Turkish shotgun equation and throw quality at it, or at least quality parts, or at least effort into making it reliable? So far for me, has been good. Is it picky with high brass? It's picky. I don't mind that. I always had high brass even for my pump shotguns. So to me, that's a non-issue. So let's just go ahead and talk about the gun more. So what is my light here? GM Con. Okay, if you want to call it Chinesium, feel free. I do not care. I know my handguard here, just the M-LOK handguard, but the, excuse me, this was my first angle. Is it angle? You know what? Now I'm really at a loss for words. So I guess this is my first horizontal hand grip. Just because I'm at a loss for words of what the hell to call this thing. I guess it's angled, but I'm just going to call it horizontal because the other ones are vertical. So there's that. I did get that from eBay as well. Sue me. So one thing I do like here is the bolt does have the lightning cuts into it to lighten it. That has been running really, really slick. I think that if anything to be said as an upgrade that should probably be put on all M4s, at least the Turcinelli types, that should be it. So I'll say that this one is ghost loaded or ghost load friendly. So there's that. I do have my red dot offset because of I was having cold witness issues with my ghost ring sights. But that being said, I do love the ghost ring sights. I don't mind moving the red dot to the side. This was more of an application just because I had a side mount here for the Picatinny mount, and I didn't want it to go unused, and I didn't want to deal with buying another riser, so off to the side it goes. Doesn't bother me, still clears over here. As you see, it's at an angle, so no issues with the bolt there. And also, even if there was an issue with the bolt, my charging handle is on the opposite side. So another neat feature there. And it has some good knurling on it as well. The sling, again, I'm not too good on brand specific, but it is a Magpul. Okay, MS1. So there you go. It's been working for me, and of course the skeleton stock, the usual rubberized M4 grip, and that's it in total. That's pretty much what I'll talk about here with the Panzer M4 Speed Pro, or Pro Speed, or whatever. All right. So, get into the ARs here. So, kind of what's happened on a personal note for me, at least, oh, sorry, I should introduce it. Hello, this is the Zero Delta Zulu 2. So I know the ones on the website look a little bit differently now. They come with Lancer mags now too. Although I think the original mag I had for it, I forgot. It was a different magazine. Oh, actually, excuse me. It came from a metal magazine, but you're going to see that in a moment. But I went ahead and put I think this is Strike Industries. Yep. Magazine on it. Just because I found it on sale and I was like, it fits the motif better to me than the metal mag. So I guess I'll just start at the front and, well, not really talking about the A2 birdcage. That's fine. Or the Night Course sight. That's fine too. And kind of mad that they don't make these anymore, but that's okay. That's where the GM con came in as well. But I think probably for most people, it's probably going to be, why did I put the, as you can see over here for this side, why did I mount my bipod the way that I did here? You know, I actually came to this realization more so when I had a AR9 upper built, or a custom one that I purchased, and I feel like AR-15s in general, and this is going to be sort of a hot take, but for me, they kind of fill a niche for an everyday person to kind of be a sniper. I'm going to leave it at that. Don't toast me for it. It's not something I'm going to die on a hill for as far as thoughts go. But that's kind of where I like to regulate the potential of what an AR-15 can do in an everyday person's hands, rather than, let's say, walking the streets. I hate to use that example for Kyle Rittenhouse, but you kind of see my point there, that it's kind of obvious. It's really meant for a long engagement, and there's probably other things that could be more concealable that won't draw a crowd. That's just my take. Sorry if it's spicy for you. But that's why I put bipods on these. On this and one other AR-15 that I have. So, that being said, let's go back to where we left off here. Westlake Tactical Sling, 2-point sling. And I believe these are Meprolite RDS and the 3X magnifier. And I'll go ahead and flip it around now. Trigger is stock. It is one of those enhanced, what's the proper word for it? Enhanced mil-spec. If you believe that. If not, it's fine. My experience is just has a clean take up, same kind of poundage, but I don't have an issue with that. The only thing I care about with triggers is that it is consistent on the pull every time as far as pounds go, and the reset is clean. I really haven't had an issue with mil-spec triggers, but where I do try to get an enhancement, I do take that as an option for me to choose. So again, this is just a cleaned up mil-spec trigger. Fine by me. Don't really care right now to have more than that unless I'm trying to prove something, at least to myself when it comes to accuracy. But this does the job for me, and no arguments there. Okay. And one other thing that's notable is that I am running a Warhammer charging handle. I forget the exact type, but again, it's Warhammer. If you need to see it a little bit closer, there you go. It just happened to play with the tolerances a little bit better, and I almost forgot about the Lantech bolt on it. So let's go ahead and just do that. You can hopefully see that inside. But yeah, that's my little gold BCG in there. But like I said, we won't get into showing off right now. Again, there's a different video that shows it in itself for that product. So I'll probably direct you there if you have more questions about it. And Ambi Safety do have I guess you could call it a Ambi charging handle release on both sides, although this one's of a different placement than your normal mil-spec one that's over here, so excuse me there. And besides that, the stock is also, is it Mission First Tactical? Let's go with that. They're, I'm trying to remember the exact wording for it. I'll figure it out later. But Mission First Tactical, minimalist stock, excuse me. So there you go there, okay? All right. Sorry, I am not an industry expert, so I do not carry all the names on my back like that. I'm a medical employee first, so I got enough things to remember on that front. All right. Well, I'll probably say this rifle for me is my most prideful one. It's the one that I dug deep research for. It was my first AR. It was painstaking process looking for something like this for 7 months. And really all I wanted to do was find a rifle, a quality rifle that had a red dot that came in the box with it, just to end up moving that red dot over to that Zulu 2 that you just saw. But that being said, let me just bring this out. My Resolute from CMMG. So again, different bipod here that I have attached here. And I won't get into the placement, why it's on the sides of my M-LOK instead of the bottom, like most people usually do. Do it yourself. Whatever works for you, okay? I'm not gonna get into logistics here because I'm already running some rail covers over here. Just, okay? Spare me, please. So, it did come to compensator. I did not add this. This was not my idea. So, yes, when I do go to the firing range, I make space, okay? Haven't had anybody complain to me yet. They probably say stuff behind my back. I don't care. It shoots flat. I need to flatten 223. But that's how it came. All right? And I'm not changing it. So now we actually have a vertical grip. But I tend to run it more like this over here, just to keep my hand closer to the light. And I did like to accessorize things with rail covers. I didn't really get into it much with the Zulu 2, just because, at least with the Zulu, it actually looks pretty factory. But with these, I believe AT3 Tactical, these look more stock. And those rail covers did come from eBay for the Zulu 2 as well. Sue me. All right, probably. And while I'm being sort of a smartass, the TrueGlow LPVO, the Omnia 1.8, most people are not familiar with. If you go on Reddit, they're going to call it trash, but they won't tell you why. But it's no, well, I was going to say Bushnell, but it might be a little bit better than that. But it's no, okay, is it Nitecore? Yeah, maybe. Well, whatever LPVO that's more expensive than the gun itself, this ain't it, okay? But what this does that I really like is that it is set up as it is with the scope rings and the mount. That's done. The only thing you need to do is the leveling and tightening. That's it. So it made that job for me pretty easy. Do I run it at 8 power? No. I tend to put it at 6 at most, but that's because it has a range. So my range tends to be more with this on a 1 to 6, and it's good enough for my purposes. I really got it because it was on sale. Figured I could make it work. And the one thing that I will say that I fell in love with it is the reticle. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get really a good picture with you on it, but I think it's so easy to read on. And that's exactly why these are not professional reviews. We're going to try this one more time, but if I knock it down again. So maybe you'll get there, maybe not, but possibly. Let me try it again with it turned on all the way and see if something happens there. If not, we're just gonna call it a day. All right, let me verify first. Okay. So let's see here. Saw the ring there. Maybe that came across there. Hopefully it's not just a ring. But sorry for the not so professional review, but if you go to, okay, I think we got it there. So if you go to the TrueGlow website, they should have everything that you need that I'm not providing to you. Okay, so I wasn't at the brightest, but it was bright enough for me to see on my end. So hopefully I was bright enough to see on your end, just as a preview. But that reticle is super easy. There's a 4 MOA, a 12 MOA, and a 20 MOA. That the part that is basically lit up or has the red coloring for those that are new to this. So basically, that just makes it real easy for close engagements. Basically all I wanted out of it. Not that I needed an LPVO, but it was just nice to see, nice to play with, so to speak. But has it worked for me? Yes. Did it turn on? Yes. Have I beat it up? No, because I don't beat up everything. This is called casual shots. Okay. And what else can we talk about here? So did get into that metal mag that I think fits this better that I did get from the Zero Delta. And I'm trying to remember which part of this is Griffin Armament. No, Wolfpack Armory did the charging handle. I can tell you that right now, if you want to take a closer look at that. And I do like the ambi charging handles there. And I want to say it was maybe Griffin Armament that, you know, I couldn't tell you exactly right now, but my ambi safe release there has been working out really good. It is a 90-degree throw. And of course I do have a bad lever along with the Geissele 2-stage trigger, which I believe is an SSA, probably not an SSAE. Again, that's how it came in the package with the Geissele trigger. Good enough for me. Clean two-stage take-up. And this one has the, this one's the Gradius. What's the manufacturer? Fab Defense. So this one has the Gradius grip on it. So I think I have it stuffed in, but I want to see if you could take a quick look at it. And I believe the grip is called the GL, but don't hold me to that. So apologies for not having this ready beforehand, but there's a look at the grip there. Has a pretty extreme angle that I like, and there's the stock. Okay. So that being said, I believe that's everything that I at least wanted to cover for my Resolute. But like I said, this was kind of like my AR journey gun of learning about ARs. So by the time I actually found this and like just tinkered with it over the years, it's just been so good to me. Yeah. If I have a LARPing gun, this is my LARPing gun. And at least according to my ex-girlfriend, this is the one that turns me into a kid again. So let me put this down before I do something stupid like a kid would. All right. So my next EMG, we're going to get into a little bit of a YouTube thing right now. So I don't know how things are with the ATF. I could care less about politics, or at least discussing it in a deep manner. But two things I don't like about what's going on right now. Braces versus stocks. Don't care. It's something that needs to go on your shoulder, and it shouldn't even be any regulation against it. It's stupid. And thing number two, I don't know what's going on, but maybe you guys are seeing this with YouTube, but since SIG has been acting like SIG right now, as far as media things go, claiming that their 320 issues aren't issues. I've been seeing a lot of comments that have been negative to SIG be censored, and a lot of defenders for SIG's comments being wide open. So basically, I'm not dealing with any type of moderation, and I don't want to bring any scrutiny on that. So brace or stock, doesn't matter. We're not getting into it right now, but you will see a throwback. But if you're new, feel free to laugh. I don't care. So I'm going to talk about my Banshee. This is my Banshee, okay? This is my towel. Well, it's not a towel, it's a blankie, but you could call it a towel if you want to. People have before, I'm not correcting them. So that being said, just due to the presence of this, I'm also going to say there is a buffer tube here. That being said, you can shoulder a buffer tube, but we're not going to get into that. All right. Chinesium sight, that still works, unfortunately. Still waiting to replace the stupid thing, but the stupid thing still works. So it's fine. This is more of a PDW style. So I'm not looking to fry the sun in daylight with my flashlight. It's just literally works at night, and again, if something happens to it, then I'll replace it. Same thing goes with the red dot Urdu. They regularly sell now between 100 and 140. It's just a simple, I believe, 2 MOA red dot. When I first saw them on Amazon, they were $40. So I bought a few of them, and then they decided, oh, okay, this is too cheap, and then they bumped the price. So never touched it since, but it's constantly worked, and I'll do a function check right now. And still works. Cool. That's what it's supposed to do. So the Banshee did come with its own ambi charging handle. Same thing goes with the safety, the ambi safety. No other mag release other than what's here, what's flat. No other bolt release other than your mil-spec bolt release. And excuse me if I said that before with the 0 Delta Zulu 2. Again, not my industry. Forgive me. All right, so one thing I'll say about the Magpul MOE grips is that I always have to put some enhancement grips from eBay, at least to enhance the texture on it. That's just something I like to do. And I'm not going to get more into the vertical grip. I think it's just an MOE as well, but this one feels fine. The actual grip over here, not so much, but that's okay. A couple of inserts, I think less than 10 bucks or 15 bucks from Amazon, and we're good to go there. Takes the Glock mags. This will come into a later discussion. And mil-spec charging handle from CMMG. No, not charging handle. Mil-spec trigger. But this one is versus my Geissele. This is still very clean pull. So CMMG might have a good track record with doing mil-spec triggers. That's just from me to you, not an endorsement, just a statement. So, that being said, we're going to leave that alone. Sorry, no previews there. We're not going to have any slip-ups. So, and then kind of the same thing that applies with, I didn't talk about my sling with that one. It's just a 1-point sling, just due to how compact it is. I didn't feel it was necessary to get a 2-point sling for it, but if that thing ever breaks, I will probably put a Magpul sling on it. But so far, that thing's been working just fine. And that has also been 4 years now with that one. And probably something I should also remark, particularly about the CMMG Banshee, my softest shooting gun by far. I don't own any 22s, but it feels that way, like bar none. It wasn't reliable at the beginning, I will say. Not an extractor issue, it was a gun lube issue. I changed my gun lube, Slip 2000, works like a charm now. All right, so that being said, there's one AR9 here that I just put together, and it is an Aero AR9. And I know Aero is not what they used to be right now, but I purchased the lower, I want to say maybe sometime in the summer or spring of last year. Somebody could correct me about my video history about it, but it was before Aero was having like their own brand of issues that is out of control right now. But I bought it from Black Hawk Armory that had it in stock. The X15 lower, that I presume that it's called, right? So the upper came from Valhalla Tactical. I love this upper. It's the only one I'm running without like any type of hand support whatsoever, but even just holding the handguard and just actuating my light with it, so comfortable, doesn't burn, no complaints there at all. Just the upper itself is just like, they did fantastic, and using the CMMG barrel and the bolt, so that I'm familiar with it, was also like, this upper is made for me, okay? Especially coming from the Banshee. I believe this is a Gen 1 Romeo 5, so no magnification needed on that, just cheap, works, reliable, intuitive, easy, okay? And if someone wants to say or is curious about batteries, for all of my red dots, rifle or handgun, I run 2032. I stick by that. Sort of the same way that I stick by the Shield RMS footprint, I stick by CR 2032 batteries across the board. So other things to note of here is that I am using the CMG AR9 um, yeah, AR-9 magazines. I was trying to think if they're 30 or 33 rounds, but I believe they came in both before, but don't quote me on this one right now. Do have the Pro here for the safety switch or safety selector. That is ambi as well. And same thing with the MOE grip. I'll tell you about that. Well, when I say I'll tell you about that, I mean I won't tell you about that because I already talked about that. But the inserts are the same there. And the only other thing to say is that the Aero trigger, same thing with the CM, or no, not the CMG. Same thing with the Zero Delta, that it's not polished, but enhanced. So again, it's just clean. It's just that it breaks at 5.5, if not 6, depending on how high or low you set your pull weight, or not the pull weight, but the pull lever to. No problems with me. Okay? I get it. It could be better, but there. All right. So now that my hand's done talking, and I'll reiterate, I'm still using the Magpul MR1, MS1 sling. So, yeah, MS1, excuse me. Trying to think of something else remarkable to say about this build that I put together, but I think that's about it. There's really nothing else special to say. A lot of this, especially with the lower, was just, it was just available for $200 or just under $200. And I was like, I'll take it. And then I did my research, waited for the upper, and then here we are. So just another buffer 2 experiment. But between that and the CMG, they're running good now. They're running the same lube for the Slip 2000. And to me, if I was going to be outside, if I had to, face rioters or some kind of conflict, I'd rather it be with the AR-9s than the AR-15. My take. Take it to the bank if you want. It's not worth anything. All right. Almost done. So what we have here is my H&R Partner pump. 18.5 inch barrel. This is my first gun. Not just my first shotgun. This is my first gun, period. So I put this grip and stock on it. I forget the aftermarket company off the top of my head. You can ask me about it in the comments if you're interested. But another Erdu dot on this one. Nothing going on with the trigger there. Same grip. Why'd I replace the stock? The stock, the original stock started peeling off at the end. I didn't want to deal with putting another insert, so I just decided to just do the pistol grip and, do all that. Sling, something, I don't know, generic. But I got my own brand of Christmas on it, so there's that. I do like that. So if you're a Christmas fan, shout out to you. And definitely a Chinesium light, but there you go. For you fans of trying to blind the sun, there you go. All the Candela. So you're welcome. And fiber optic front of the bead there. Pretty sure that came from Amazon as well. So yeah, of course my first gun was the Amazon gun. So sue me. Don't sue me. You're not gonna get anything. Definitely not getting my guns. All right. Now, whoo. Now we're talking about the reason that my alt channel is called AK All Day. There it is. Literally my one-stop shop for the AK, the Zastava M70. And I treat it like an AK. This has been relegated to my how could I probably put this? This holds all my trash. This, like, my Povast light is trash. But you see how bright it is? And by bright, I mean not bright. It's basically kind of like my tinkering setup that the times where I'm waking up in the middle of the night and outside it's like 0 degrees, this is probably the only time where I would consider grabbing this gun. Unfortunately, every other time, especially of the year, unless I'm taking it to the range, this gun isn't like nowhere near being used or even thought of for like training or like, you know, unless I just want to get familiar with the ergonomics all over again, which is of course is AK. So, you know, it sucks compared to an AR. But I seriously don't think, besides my 2-point sling, which is also, I think it's a West Point Tactical, if I'm saying it right. My grip is, Vickers. No, is it Vickers? No, that's not the name of it. Tango Down. Sorry, I'm thinking of Larry Vickers. I have to work my way there. Tango Down grip, and kind of a normal stock that has cheek riser adjustment. And I did put one of those combo Romeo and Juliet 3X magnifiers on it. And of course the UTG mount that is on it as well. That's it. I mean, a little cover for the heat. This thing gets no love from me at all, unfortunately. And it was my first AK. It is my grail gun. It was like the gun I could not live without. And it's also the one that sees the least amount of love for me. Unfortunately, it does get treated like trash, unfortunately. And that might be the AK thing to do, because like I give it trash ammo. This is the one thing, like, I do beat up sometimes. Like, I'll just let it like slam into the side of the safe. Like, listen, in 20 years, and hopefully we don't all become Houthi rebels, this will probably still be here. You know what I mean? In a, unfortunately, Afghan kind of way. Okay, that's enough of my jokes. If you have any questions, let me know. So, get to the last one. And unironically, my most fun gun to shoot. It's not the most pleasant. It's not the softest. It's just, if a gun was a Mazda Miata, the Mossberg 590 is it. Or Shockwave, I should say. But I did put a brace on it, so. Hi, ATF. Last Urdu red dot. Pistol grip, you know, to be scary. And I did change out the barrel. The barrel is not named over here, but I do know it is a good barrel. Dang, it is ported, and I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Okay, well, again, it's probably the only ported barrel that you're going to find if you do a Google search for it, for the Shockwave. And I wish I was better with my names. I wish I was better at selling you stuff, but I am not selling you anything, so there's that. Let's talk about my integrity. So, again, another sun to combat, or another light to combat the sun, straight from Amazon. And like I said, this thing is the surprise for me. It's the one I saved for last because this is like my dumb hick gun. Things I should not say while being black. Anyway, thank you for your time. Any questions, leave it below. Till then, see ya.